My friends and I went camping up in Trinidad last weekend. While me and my girlfriend were out for a hike in the woods, just enjoying the day, I kneeled down to tie my boot and saw something wrapped in plastic shoved under a stump. I figured it was just a piece of trash left behind by some other camper, but decided to be a nice guy and toss it out. I reached in and yanked the thing out by the plastic. It had been shoved pretty deep under. I brushed the dirt and mud off of it and unwrapped the plastic to find a small hardbound journal. Curious as to why it was shoved under a stump out in the middle of the woods, my girlfriend and I sat down on a log and read through. It chilled us to the bone, so much so that we took it back to camp and showed it around. Suffice to say that after everyone read it, we cut our weekend short and got the hell out of there. I still have the journal with me, and since I'm unsure what to do with it, I thought I would share it with all of you. When it's over, I'm sure you'll understand why we left early. Day 1. Yay! We finally made it up to the campsite. It was a very long drive and we are all exhausted, but it was totally worth it. This place is beautiful. Our camp is surrounded by super tall, amazing redwood trees. The weather report says it might rain this weekend, but honestly, I could care less. Tony is setting up our tent right now, and Jim is doing the same for Carla and his. We are all pretty excited for a weekend of nature and a little or maybe a lot of drinking. I've never been camping before, so I'm going to record the whole experience in this journal for the memories. When we get back, I'll add in whatever pictures we take. I'll write more later. Time for fun, Beth. Day 1 continued. The clouds are moving in pretty heavy now and it's getting pretty cold. Good thing I got my baby here to cuddle up with. It's been a great first night. We got here pretty late, so I didn't expect us to do much today. After the setup, we cooked a big dinner of canned stuff and barbecue. Jim makes a mean burger on the grill. Afterwards, we had some drinks and just sat around the fire talking and telling ghost stories. Pretty much the stuff you would expect. I guess I'm gonna go now though, cause Tony keeps trying to pull me under the covers and I'm in no mood to say no. Day 2. So weird, I woke up this morning and I can't find Tony anywhere. Jim and Carla said they haven't seen him either. I remember him getting up late last night to use the bathroom, but I was so tired that I fell right back asleep. I'm really worried. Jim and Carla say it's probably nothing, but Jim went out to look for him anyway. They do have a point though, Tony loves to hike. I'm sure he just woke up early and went out for a walk on his own. He probably just didn't want to wake me. I'm gonna help Carla make breakfast for the boys so he can eat when he gets back. I'll write more later. Day 2 continued. This is so freaking weird. Okay, so Tony came back to camp a little bit after the last time I wrote. He seemed off though. He says he just went on a morning hike like I thought, but something seems so strange about him. His eyes are kind of glassy and he is acting a way out of it. At first I was relieved when he showed back up. Now I'm starting to get more worried. He ate breakfast without saying a word to anyone. He just wolfed down his food as he stared out into the woods. He didn't help with cleanup, and every time I talk to him, he acts like he's a million miles away. I asked if something happened on his walk, and he just said no and smiled at me. Honestly though, that smile made me get a chill down my spine. It didn't help that it started raining at that exact same time. The most animated he got was when Jim asked if we all wanted to go on a rain hike after lunch. He got super excited and practically started dragging me into the woods. Honestly, I was feeling so weird about the whole thing that I decided to stay in camp. Carla was sweet and decided to stay with me. Tony and Jim went out their own. As they were walking away, I could have swore I heard Tony say that he had something awesome to show Jim. I'm gonna talk to Carla about all this, see what she thinks. I'll write more later. Day 2 continued. Carla thinks I'm being paranoid. Honestly, she's probably right. Tony can be an oddball about things sometimes, but there is no reason to freak out. I'm probably just making a way bigger deal than I should. I'll talk to him when he gets back. Maybe we can have our own private hike tonight. Right now I'm just gonna hide in the tent with Carla and play some cards. The rain is really coming down. Day 2 continued. Okay, I'm really freaked now. Tony came back alone from the hike. When we asked him where Jim was, he said that he just went to check out some ridge overlooking the water, and he would be back soon. I tried to talk to him more about it, but he just went to our tent and collapsed, and passed out, still wearing all of his soaked and filthy clothes. Me and Carla both tried to wake him up, but he won't even budge. He is out cold. When it started to get dark, Carla said she was going to go look for Jim. I told her I was freaked out and I didn't want her to leave, but she was getting really panicked and I couldn't stop her. Last time I saw her, she was headed out into the woods with a flashlight calling out Jim's name. I've been curled up in Carla and Jim's tent with a lamp writing this. The rain still hasn't let up and I keep seeing these flashes of light. At first I thought they were lightning, but now I'm not sure. They seem like they are coming from the woods themselves and I don't hear any thunder. I'm really scared and I don't know what to do. Carla has been gone over an hour now and I'm super worried. I'm going to try and wake Tony up again, even with as weird as he's been acting. I wish he was awake so I wouldn't feel so alone. At this point she stops marking the days and the handwriting gets pretty erratic. That, coupled with the fact that it's smeared from some water damage, made some of it pretty hard to make out. I'm fairly certain what I am writing here is the same thing she did, but I can't be sure. I'm hiding in a hollowed out tree out in the woods. I think I'm only still writing just to try and make sense of everything that's happened. Honestly, I don't know what the hell is going on. I tried to wake Tony up again, but he was still out cold. Finally, I just went back to Carla and Jim's tent. I was so scared and alone I just started crying, and eventually fell asleep. I don't know how long I was out for, but I woke up to the feeling of being dragged along the ground. When I looked up, Tony had me by the ankle and was dragging me out the tent. I mean, what the hell? I told him to let me go and started struggling, but he had a vice grip on my leg and just kept repeating the same thing over and over again. I have something wonderful to show you. I kept fighting to get away while asking him what the hell was going on at the same time. It was still dark out and I could clearly see that we were getting closer and closer to the flashes that I had seen earlier. I also started to hear this low humming sound. I kept kicking my feet and screaming, hoping maybe Jim or Carla might hear me and help. Now I know that was pointless, but at the time it seemed like all I could do. Finally, Tony stopped dragging me and bent down over me with his fist cocked back. He was going to freaking hit me. I freaked out and let loose with one more kick. This one found his balls and he doubled over. I got up and took off running. I was trying to head back to the campsite, but got turned around in the dark. The rain was still coming down heavy too, so I have no idea which way I was going. Eventually, I came to a clearing that, at first, I thought might be another campsite, but then the flashes started again. This was where they were coming from. I don't know what was making them though. All I could see in the clearing was this huge mound of what looked like mud and leaves piled up. It must have been at least 7 feet high. I know because Jim and Carla were standing on either side of it. I hid behind a nearby bush and just watched. I thought about calling out to them, but the way they looked scared me to death. I could make out their faces each time the light flashed. Their eyes were wide and glassy, fixed on the damn dirt mound. Their mouths were twisted in these weird, uncomfortable smiles. It freaked me the hell out. I saw Tony walk into the clearing from the other side and join them. He stood on another side of the mound with his back to me. Suddenly, they all just started shaking like they were having a seizure and the low hum came back. I was frozen scared. I didn't know what the hell was going on or what I should do. Eventually, the hum turned into a whine that hurt my ears. I could barely stand it. I looked back towards the mound and I swear to God that all three of them were floating above the ground. I freaked and ran. I didn't know what else to do. I kept running until I finally found my way back to camp. I grabbed my bag and some food and water and tried to find my way back to the cars, but I got lost again. About an hour ago, I heard Tony calling for me in the woods. Then Jim and Carla joined in. All I could think to do is hide in this hollow tree. I'm so scared. This is the last entry in the journal. It still scares me to read it. I hear them, they keep calling me. The hum is back, the lights flash so fast. I'm so scared and I don't know what to do. They are going to get me. Those things aren't my friends, their voices aren't right. I'm going to hide this journal. If you find it and you read this far, run now and don't look back, they're coming. And that was it. I didn't need another warning. Run is exactly what we did. Maybe I could write this all up as a prank. God knows I'd like to think that this journal is a joke and we fell for it. The thing is, as we were driving out away from our campsite, I could swear I saw people standing out in the woods staring at us as we drove away. And even though it was daytime, I'm almost sure I saw flashes of light coming from somewhere behind the trees.